Right. Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters. As always, we'd like to first and foremost give all praises to the Most High, AHAYAH, Bashim Yasha, Chakamawath. That is the Most High in Christ and the Holy Spirit. I'm Brother Malak, and his brother Tony. Um, we're excited to present this lesson to the brothers and sisters. The title of today's lesson is Don't Wait Until It's Too Late. And we're just going to be going over some parables that Yasha spoke to remind us not to get too comfortable as we're here in Babylon. Um, so I pray everybody follow along with us today. Um, go through our disclaimer real quick. Here at the Servants of Scattered Sheep, we teach according to St. Matthew chapter 28 and verse 19. We teach and we baptize all nations. So we don't judge anyone based off appearance. We don't look at someone and say you're too light to be Israel. Or on the flip side of that, you're too dark to be Israel. You could be a Hamite. We don't do any of that. Rather, we judge the inward man and the spirit of the person. And we leave the separating of the goats and the sheep and the tares and the wheat to our big brother Yasha. So with that, we're going to get into our first scripture. It's going to be St. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 1. Once again, the title of this lesson is Don't Wait Until It's Too Late. And we're going to be going through the parables that Yasha spoke. So majority of this lesson, just to show everybody, it's a blessing. Majority of this lesson, I guess y'all can't see. Let me see. Kind of wanted to show everybody. Majority of this lesson is all red letters. So we getting into Christ today. With that, once again, we're going to St. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 1. We're gonna stick in the New Testament, and then at the end of this lesson, towards the conclusion, we're going to get into the Apocrypha. We're going to get into Second Esdras, and we're going to touch on the 70 missing verses that aren't there in the King James Apocrypha. Whenever you're ready, let's get it.
Matthew chapter 25, verse 1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom.
All right, so it's a parable that Yasha spoke. I know we're all familiar with it, but keep in mind that we are those virgins, and we have our lamp. We need to make sure our lamp is full. And as we're dealing with this time that we have, as we're waiting for Yasha to come back, we need to make sure we're going out and we're looking to meet the bridegroom. Are we doing the things that are required? Or are we just sitting around with the light going for no reason? Go ahead.
And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish.
So now we got to look within ourselves and say, okay, do we want to be the wise virgins or the foolish virgins? Go ahead.
And they that were foolish took their lamps, and took no oil with them.
So got to make sure you never run out of oil. No matter where you go, always have that oil within you. This way you can be a light unto everywhere you go, to the Gentiles and the Gentile-minded, to your family, to your friends, in the workplace. Always make sure that light is radiating. Always make sure, as we're supposed to be holy people that are set apart, always make sure that in our conversation and in our conduct, the things that we're doing, and even to a certain extent to our appearance, if we wear fringes and things of that nature, make sure that you're standing out. You need to be bright. Go ahead on.
But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him.
So they all slept. The wise ones took the oil so that they can go out and meet Yasha, when it was in the middle of the night, when it was just pitch black. They were able to have that light to find their way unto him. Well,
Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out.
So obviously we understand that the light and the oil is likened unto righteousness, and we know that we can't be righteous and just give a portion of our righteousness to somebody. So we understand, this is a parable to get some deeper understanding. But, the foolish are saying, hey, can you give us what you have so that we can go out and that we can meet him. Go ahead.
But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and that and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut.
So he said, you know what? Go and get your own oil. All right. So these 5 virgins that were wise, they were already prepared to meet Yasha. They've been baptized. Everything that it takes to make it unto the kingdom. They were obedient and they were patient and they were waiting for their master. And the foolish asked the wise, hey, can we have some of your oil? He said, absolutely not. We're not going to have enough for everybody. So they had to stop what they were doing, go buy some oil to come back. Instead of being prepared, they waited till it was too late to start preparing. And then when they got what they needed, the marriage door was shut unto them. It was a wrap. So you need to make sure. We don't know how much time we have. We're not promised tomorrow. For myself, I can go to sleep and not wake up with the breath of life tomorrow morning. It's up to the Father. So for myself, I have to make sure that everything is in order so that when that time comes, I can meet the Father. I can meet Yasha and I can deal with that judgment. So each one of us, we need to make sure that we are prepared. And it's not a hard thing to get prepared. It's a matter of self-sacrifice and self-discipline and fully committing yourself to being obedient unto the Most High in Christ. Go ahead.
Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not.
So that's some cold words to hear. Just like there's another precept where people were saying, we fed the sick, or we fed the hungry, we clothed the naked. What else? They said they healed the sick and they prophesied and cast out demons in his name. And he said, depart from me, I never knew you. It's the same thing. Right here, he's saying, I know you not. I don't know who you are. Go ahead.
13. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh.
So that's what we must be doing. So watch and pray. And we need to make sure that we're watchful. We understand the signs and times through prophecy. We can see the things that are going on in the earth. And as we see things rapidly picking up as far as the weather, earthquakes, rumors of wars, people coming up saying that they're Christ, saying that they're God, and all this crazy stuff that we see going on, we should know that the time is approaching. So we should be even being more diligent about preparing ourselves spiritually. So with that, we're now going to get into the parable of the talents. So we started off in Matthew 25. We just finished verse 13. We're going to stick in Matthew 25, and we're just going to go right next to the next verse, verse 14.
14. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling unto a far country, who called his own servants, and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1. To every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey.
So with this parable, it's clear to understand that he knew the capability of each one of these men. So that's why he gave 5 to one, 2 to another, and then 1 to one. He knew who could handle the heavier load. Just the same thing today in this truth. The Most High, we'll see brothers have hard times, and some brothers don't have so much of a hard time. Or some brothers are actually, more involved in actually doing more work. But some brothers aren't. And that's okay, because the Most High, he gives us what he knows we can handle. And so here's a great example. The Most High, he's going to give some of us 5 talents. He's going to give some of us 2 talents. He's going to give some of us 1 talent. And that's okay. Go ahead on.
16. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents.
So that brother, He took the 5 talents and he made it so that he can double. And now he has a total of 10 talents. He wasn't just idle. He took the gifts that the Most High blessed him with, and he went out there and he did his work to bring increase. And that's what we must do. Whether the Most High bless you with the ability to teach, to prophesy, or just to speak. Sometimes just speaking to people, which some I have a hard time doing, but there's other brothers that have that ability. They can just speak to people, share the information with them, and that's how they plant that seed in another man's waters. But there's something that we can all be doing. Even the brother that's just quiet, that just hands you a flyer, he's doing something. So no matter what, what capabilities we have, what talents the Father's blessed us with, it's up to us to utilize them, because he didn't give us this information and this knowledge and this beautiful spirit he's blessed us with for no reason. We're not supposed to just sit here and say, "Oh, I got it." It doesn't matter if you have it and you're not using it. It's like somebody who has $1 million in the bank. Yeah, they have $1 million in the bank. They check their balance, but until they go and actually spend that and get something with it, it's just sitting there. It's nothing. It doesn't matter. So we really need to make sure that we're making use of the gifts that the Father has given us. We don't want to be that slothful servant. Go ahead.
17. And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained other 2.
So this one he gained the other 2. Went out and did the same thing, and even though he just now has 4, and the other brother has 10, he still did the same thing. He doubled what he had. Go ahead.
But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money.
So this is the one that had the least amount of talent. And it doesn't matter if you feel like you have the least amount of talent or the least of ability, you're still blessed with something to do. You can't go and hide that. Now, this brother, he decides, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take this talent. I'm going to stick it in the ground. Maybe he was scared. He didn't want to lose the talent. He didn't know what to do with the talent, so I'm gonna just put it in the ground, and when he comes back, it's still gonna be there. Make sure you're not doing that with your talents. Make sure you have the ability to speak to someone and you have the time to do it. Take the time to do it. It doesn't matter where you at. You got to be useful. Go ahead on.
19. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them.
So at the end of the day, when Yasha comes back, when it comes time for judgment, he's going to reckon with us, and he's going to take account. He's going to read the report, and we're going to be held accountable for what we did or didn't do with the gifts the Father blessed us with. Go ahead, Al.
And so he that received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant.
So that's what we want to hear. We want to hear, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Go ahead, Al.
Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
So here we have, his Lord comes back, saws what he did. He's like, you know what? That's a good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with just this little bit I've given you. I'm going to make you a ruler over many things. And enter into the joy of the Lord. So for those that, maybe, you're out there and you're in a group of brothers and you guys are seeking to do works, but it's only a few that just step up and I don't want to say assume the leadership roles or things of that nature, but they're always just constantly busy in the work. And sometimes they might think, well, why aren't my brothers with me just as diligent? That's not something for us to really actually worry about. Why? Because the Most High, he's going to bless us with even more for doing more works, and we're going to enter into the joy of the Lord. So keep those things in mind. We all have a different task. Our workload might be heavier than someone else's. Just like when you're in the job, maybe they're requiring you to produce higher numbers than someone else that you're working with, and they only have that requirement because they know that you're fully capable and they know that your coworker isn't. I've dealt with situations like this in the workplace when it's frustrating because it's like, why do I have a higher tail of bricks than this person over here? But they know I can get it done, no sweat. So they expect that. It's the same thing from the Father. The Father knows you can do more works than someone else. He's gonna put it on your plate and he's gonna expect you to do it. Why? Because you can. So always remember that when you're dealing with situations and maybe you're frustrated with things of that nature, the Father, He's blessed you with the ability to do it. Why not do it? Your life is not even your own. Your time is not even your own. We're all seeking for this life to pass so that we can be in the kingdom of the Father. What better way to have that time pass than to just fully submerge yourself into these works and just, of course, take care of your family, things of that nature, but anything else, you're just not even paying attention to it. Just keep your head in the book, keep doing the works, keep going out and prophesying unto the wind, doing outreach and things of that nature. And don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Sometimes the how am I trying to say this? Sometimes when you're stronger spiritually or physically, whatever it is, and it's no sweat, part of having that position or having that strength, part of dealing with that is looking around and saying, you know what, not everybody can do the same thing, and it kind of makes it seem lonely. But hey, so be it. Remember, we're doing works to please the Father, not anyone else, and not to be seen of men, for that matter. For a person to ask the question about what religion is this, this is not a religion. We are, in fact, the Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of, and we are just going over the records that Yasha left us, these parables, but we teach according to the Bible. So, if you have any questions or comments, our conference line number is 302-202-1110. Once again, that's 302-202-1110. The code is 702706. Also, you can reach us through email at scatteredsheep@yahoo.com, and we'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. But for the sake of us actually doing this lesson with this specific topic, you can please withhold your questions that are off topic until the end. You can call in. We'd be more than happy to answer them. All right, so we are verse 22. For those that just joined us, we're in St. Matthew chapter 25, verse 22.
22. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things.
So,
enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
So even though he just doubled 2 talents and the other brother doubled 5 talents, he still told him the same thing. He said, you know what? I'm gonna make you ruler over many things, just like the other brother. So keep that in mind. You just have to fulfill your task, and your task might be heavier than the next man's, but that's okay. Just like the parable of the laborers in the vineyard. Some started from the very beginning, and some came in at the last hour. They all received that same penny. And the ones that were there from the beginning, they were murmuring like, hey, I've done more work. And, the master of the vineyard said, you know what? What's mine? Isn't it mine to give? All right, be satisfied with your penny. So it's the same thing. You can't be like, I've been in the truth for 10 years, 20 years. And someone comes into the knowledge of the truth and into obedience and service unto the Most High, say for 6 months, and then Most High comes back, we all die, and you're not going to be sitting there trying to reason with the Father like, man, I've been in the truth for 30 years, and this brother comes in 6 months. Why are we getting the same reward? Nah, it doesn't work that way. Be glad that you're going to be able to enter into the joy of the Lord. Let's get verse 24.
Verse 24. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I know thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed.
So here comes this slothful servant. He knows his Lord. He knows his Lord is a hard man, and he takes from places that he didn't sow, but he's still going to reap benefits from it. And he's going to gather from where he's not strawed. So he understands the character of his Lord that gave him this 1 talent. Go ahead out.
And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine.
So we can kind of liken this unto someone who has the knowledge of the truth and they're not doing anything with it. And matter of fact, they decide they're going to go back out into the world, even though they have this knowledge. They're going to go out into the world and be worldly and be in positions where they can actually utilize this talent and not utilize it. Go ahead on.
His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant.
So we do not want to hear these words, thou wicked and slothful servant. Just and just keep in mind, just by him having this talent and having this understanding and not doing anything with it, he was accounted wicked for it. So keep that in mind. Go ahead on.
Thou knowest that I reap where I sow not, and gather where I have not straw.
Like, so you already know how I'm going to be. It's like when we get into these law, statutes, and commandments, we understand there's judgment for breaking them. So we already know what's going to happen. Just like our forefathers, they already knew about the curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Already knew beforehand. This is what's going to happen to you if you fall off. Okay, what happens? They fell off. Go ahead on.
Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to an exchanger, and then at my coming I should have received my own with usury. Usury. 28. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents.
It's like, take this talent from this brother, and the one that doubled, that had the most talents, give it to him. Go ahead up.
For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath.
So, man, that's hard right there. Everyone that has, everybody that has is going to be given. You know, disconnect from the Wi-Fi. Everything, it's like it. Everyone that has something is going to be given something. So the talents you have, you're going to be given a duty, things of that nature, and you're going to be given an abundance of what you do have. But from the one that doesn't have, or doesn't use it, he's going to take away even that little that he does have. So keep that in mind. Go ahead on.
30. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into utter darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
So we want to be a servant under the Most High. Make sure that we're not an unprofitable servant. We need to be using the gifts that he gave us. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until you can't make a repentance, because we're going to get into that in the second Ezra chapter 7. The question at hand today is, if you know to do good and you don't, it is sin in you. And if you know what it takes to go out there and do the work and to reach the people, why aren't you doing it? Especially if you have the time. If you have the time to do it and you have the know-how, what's holding you back? You know, one thing about that me and the brothers, we kind of been discussing or having the same thoughts is starting to notice people getting too comfortable here in Babylon. You know, because it makes it seem like nothing's going on. You know, everything's still the same. There's a plethora of distractions out there. And it seems like people just get comfortable. They understand the scriptures, but they get comfortable. They understand Yasha's coming, but then things make them comfortable. They know there's going to be a time where we're going to have to flee into the wilderness, but no preparation is being made. People are still comfortable. So it's you know, what's with the spirit of slothfulness going on.
It's like what I was showing in that video earlier. Everybody comfortable. See, they snatching up that Section 8 and all the benefits on those who've been on it forever. That's from being comfortable. You wasn't ready for this.
Like you're talking about how Section 8 is there, you know, to have for a time, so that as you're paying that minimal amount, you can save all that money so that you can go out and get what you need.
Like that wise ant, the ant store
Yeah.
all summertime. They ready for the winter.
That's the same thing we must be doing with this truth as we're learning and gaining knowledge. we got to utilize it and go out and help the people and bring them to this truth and just sow seeds, whether they take or not. It's in the Most High's will, but we still need to be doing our job and need to be prepared so that when the time comes and we have no more time, we're going to be okay.
That within itself is discouraging. I'm gonna tell you from experience at work. I'll be sitting there talking to people that come in, and they might have asked me a question or something about my beliefs or whatever, or bring something up, and I get to going into this word. Next thing I know, they feel pressured and angered or whatever, and they go tell my boss on me. He always talking about the Bible, this and that, and that's discouraging. And it actually make me angry. I be, boy, like, you trying to get me in trouble for you? You gonna came to ask me,
That's a blessing in disguise, though.
man.
I noticed the same thing too at my second job because I work with more people there, and they always ask about my beliefs or things of that nature because there just happens to be a lot of Christians that work there. But then when it comes to getting into the scriptures, once you start talking about it, it's like they don't really want to hear it. Well, I really don't think I'm going to go to hell because I like bacon or it's this and that, and it's like it's more than just a Sunday thing. As a matter of fact, I was speaking with one of my coworkers last night, as I was walking out to go home and give him a flyer and went over the flyer with him and because he asked me earlier in the building, what my beliefs were. I said, well, I believe in the Bible in its totality and I don't deal with religion. I was going to explain to him, it's a way of life. Once you have the knowledge of this truth and you really understand who you are, when you understand who the people are in the Bible, who the characters are, and that you're of their lineage, it'll change everything about your life. It'll change the way you think, the way you act, and put you in a whole different perspective. But going back to the topic here, we need to be utilizing the things that the Father has blessed us with, even if it's just the Ten Commandments, and you have that memorized. You can share that prophecies, things of the nature. Myself, I'm not good with prophecy, but I can show you the commandments. I can show you scriptures that are going to encourage you, most high willing. That's what the Father has blessed me with. I believe I have the ability to help motivate and encourage brothers and sisters. But I don't need to get into prophecy and things of that nature. Prophecy is great to have an understanding on, for ourselves. But I myself, I can't teach it, and I'm not going to try to teach it. It's just, hey, let us hear the conclusion of the matter. Fear the Most High, keep the commandments. Was that it on that?
31.
No, so we're done. All right. So next, we're going to get into another parable. Majority of what we're going to be going over is the parables. This parable is titled the parable of the rich fool. So we're going to get to St. Luke chapter 12 and verse 13. Matter of fact, we're going to stay in Luke chapter 12 for a minute. We're going to be here for a while. Once again, that's St. Luke chapter 12 and verse 13. And I just want brothers and sisters to really pay attention to what's going on in this parable. I mean, obviously, none of us are rich, but we do have the ability to be foolish. In this parable, this guy, he's like, he has a barn. He's like, you know what? I'm going to tear down this little barn, and I'm going to make me an even bigger barn. So, of course, there's nothing wrong with providing for yourself and making sure that you have, nice stuff if that's what you like to do. But keeping in mind that we're not supposed to allow attaining a bigger house or a better car or better whatever material thing it is that you want. We can't allow that to dominate our thoughts and to dominate what we do. So if trying to get those things, you ends up making you put that chase above, seeking the Most High, then that's something you got to fall back from. Just pay attention to this parable and really take into account where it can fit for you, and the parts of it that you can really take from it and then change your way of thinking and your way of being. So once again, it's St. Luke chapter 12 and verse 13.
Luke chapter 12, verse 13. And one of the company said unto him, Master, speak to my brother, that he divide the inheritance with me. And he said unto him, Man, who made me a judge or a divider over you? And he said unto them, Take heed and beware of covetousness.
So this is something that we need to pay attention to. There's nothing wrong with wanting nice stuff. But don't just look and be like, oh, my brother has this, I want that too. Or, the person acting as the boss at your job, has a Mercedes Benz, I want that too. Or they got that nice house, I want that too. As long as the Father's providing you with the things that you need and you have a roof over your head, transportation, you got food in your stomach, clothes on your back, be thankful for those things. Go ahead, on. Should be for a man's life consistent.
For a man's life consisteth not of the abundance of things which he possesseth.
Keep that in mind. Your life, or you shouldn't measure yourself or any man based on the things that they have. We shouldn't allow that to make us feel any type of way. If you're constantly paying attention to what everybody else has, you're not able to fully be thankful and appreciate the things that Father has blessed you with. Yeah.
And he spake a parable unto them, saying, The ground of a the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentiful. And he thought within himself, saying, What shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my fruits.
So, as a man, he had some land, and it brought forth plentifully. He was reaping all these fruits, right? And he thought to himself, what am I going to do? Because I don't have any room to store this stuff, right? So let's see. Did he say, you know what, since I have such an abundance, let me go out to the highways and the byways and let me go and feed the people that are in need? Let's see if that's what he did. Right?
And he said, This will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods.
So instead of going out and helping the needy, he's like, you know what, I'm going to tear down what I do have, and I'm going to make it bigger so I can store more. It's like someone who has so much clothes that are like, I'm going to tear down my closet, I'm going to make a bigger closet. Instead of just taking the stuff that they have and say, you know what, there's a homeless shelter over here, or I always see this homeless person over here, let me give them some pants and some shoes and shirts and stuff. But nah, let me build a bigger closet. So keep that in mind. If we have more than what we can store, maybe it's time to go through our stuff and go and give it to those who need. Or if we have more than enough food, maybe, it's time for you to invite someone over that doesn't have so they can come and eat. Or maybe you should make that food, make some plates, go out and just hand them out to people and share the word with them as well. Because the Most High, he's not blessing us with an abundance of stuff so we can just keep it. He wants to make sure that we're going to do the right thing with it. Right on.
And I will say to my soul, Soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thy ease, eat, drink, and be merry.
Like, you know what? You got so much stuff. Just take a rest. Don't even worry about anything. Just go ahead and eat and drink. Be happy. Just pretend like nothing else in the world is happening to no one. Go ahead on.
But AHAYAH said unto him, Thou fool, this night thou soul shall be required of thee. Ooh. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided?
So, just going back to, you never know what's going to happen.
Can't take it with you.
Yeah, you didn't know, all right, I'm going to be alive tomorrow so I can go ahead and eat all this fruit or whatever it was that he, had excess of. So they're saying, you know what, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give it because I don't need it. And here we have it. He went, built the barn, stored his goods, said, you know what, I'm just going to chill. I'm going to eat and drink, and I'm just going to be merry. Now his soul is being required.
So is he that layeth up treasures for himself and is not rich toward AHAYAH?
So it's the same thing. If you're over here trying to store up treasures for yourself and you're not rich toward the Most High, you're not, rich in works, hey, You could liken unto that rich fool. So make sure you're being rich unto the Most High. Make sure you're doing works. Make sure if the Most High is blessing you with something, that you're going out and giving back to His people. I know some of us, we all can't, and some of us can, or only certain times we're able to have access to give, and that's fine. But just make sure that when you do have it, you actually do it, and you give unto the godly. You give unto your brethren that are in Christ first. Um, because we're not just supposed to give to anyone. We're supposed to be given to those that actually love our Father and have faith unto Him. So we're supposed to try the spirits. Rawach chapter 12, it tells you to do good unto the godly man, and from the wicked, hold back your bread. You got to keep that in mind as well. So with that, we're staying in Luke 12, and now we're getting to verse 22. This is going into, not worrying about what tomorrow brings. Make sure you got it right today. Whenever you're ready.
Luke chapter 12, verse 22. And he said unto his disciples, therefore I say unto you, take not thought for your life.
So we say take no thought for your life. And of course, we must think about our life, but not to the extent where all that matters is what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to wear, what I'm going to buy, make sure, you woke up, okay, I prayed unto the Most High. When I had an opportunity to speak to someone about this truth, I spoke to them. When my brother called me and needed encouragement, I encouraged him. I didn't just send him to voicemail. There was a gathering. I got together with the brethren. Whatever it may be. Well,
what you shall eat, neither for what the body, what you shall put on.
So don't sit here and think about, tomorrow I'm going to have this for dinner, or next week I'm just, take no thought for your life in that sense. Go ahead.
The life is more than meat, and the body is more than raiment.
Your life is more than what you eat. And one thing I see is there's this fixation amongst Israel that I'm seeing a lot on social media, dealing with, your meat being the fruits of the earth-bearing seed or being flesh, because meat can mean both. Meat is just food. We've taken that word and now we just apply it to all flesh. But life is more than what you're going to eat. So, we can share with our brothers and sisters better and healthier eating habits, but don't go around with that condemning spirit and trying to make brothers feel a certain way because they're still eating flesh. Because we do, and within the council, the service of the scattered sheep, and within the congregation, we have some brothers and sisters that are vegetarian and vegan, and some that are, like myself and my brother here, we eat meat.
I get it, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we don't go around and condemn anyone and do things of that nature. Nah, because life is more than that. We're just thankful that the Father is blessing us with something to put in our stomach to nourish our body. And the same thing, the body is more than raiment. So you got to keep these things in mind. Don't just, I got to have the best of this and the best of that, and it doesn't matter. When we meet the Father, we're not going to have anything. We're going to meet Him the same way that He allowed us to come into this earth. We can't take nothing with us. Go ahead up.
24. Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, which neither have storehouse nor barn, and AHAYAH feedeth them. How much more are ye better than the fowls?
Think about it. And that goes for any bird out there. The Most High, he has a way of allowing everything out there in nature to take care of itself. All the trees and the plants bearing seed feed all the birds. And everything out there, everything's made to sustain. And we are more unto the Most High than the birds or any other animals. So think about it. The Most High, He's definitely going to take care of us, no matter what. Go ahead on.
25. And which of you, with talking, thought can add to his stature 1 cubit?
So who of us can just what to say taking thought? So just have the thought, you know what, I want to be a foot taller, and then actually you just now you're a foot taller. It's not going to happen. Yeah.
If ye then be not able to do that thing which is least, that take ye thought for the rest.
So Yasha's saying that's like a minor thing to think about wanting to be taller and actually being taller. So why are you taking thought about everything else? Because your thoughts can't make things happen and can't control the outside realm. You can't look at your top ramen and turn it into a steak because you just thought about it. So don't worry about it. Then he goes on to say, go ahead.
27. Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not, and yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these.
So, look at the flowers. Look how beautiful they are. Look at how the Most High created these things. They do nothing. They just in the ground. They grow up. They get water from rain, and they get the sun beaming on them. And compared it to Solomon, Solomon, he was, the wisest man on the earth to live, second to Yasha, but it was at the height of the kingdom of Israel, and he was the richest. And no matter how rich he was or whatever he was able to get for his raiment, Yasha's saying, you know what? Even in all his glory, he was not like one of these lilies here that the Father created. So we really got to think about, on that level as far as, what we're putting on ourselves or what we're eating. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
28. If then AHAYAH so cloth the grass, which is today in the field, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of the little faith?
So we say, clothe the grass in the fields, and it's going to come to naught. The Most High is going to destroy this place. It says the firmament's going to come down in a fervent heat. Everything's just going to be melted. And that's why he says it's going to be cast into the oven. And here we are. We know that we have the ability to make it to the other side, whether it be in righteousness or in wickedness, whether it be in paradise or torments. So this stuff that he's going to destroy and you that's going to keep going on, how much more is he going to clothe you? Let's not be of little faith and continuously be dwelling on these types of things. Right.
29. And seek not ye what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind.
So don't think about what you're going to eat or you're going to drink, but also don't be of a doubtful mind. There's times where things are going on and situations out of my hand. I just have to tell myself, you know what? I know the Most High has got me. I know he's going to take care of the situation and it's going to play out how he wants it to play out. I'm not going to worry about it, and I'm not going to doubt that a righteous thing is not going to happen to me. I'm just going to let it be. Just don't let doubt enter into your mind. It goes back into James chapter 1. It says, whatever you want, ask of the Most High, but, don't ask in doubt. Don't be like, yeah, I'm going to pray on it, but I don't know. No, you own it. Ask the Father and know that, when I ask my Father, he's going to provide it for me, and he will. It's this doubt that we spent our whole lives growing up with. We, especially us, of the nation of Israel, we grew up dealing with these curses. We're so used to being let down. We're so used to people not keeping their word. And when people actually keep their word and do the right thing, it's actually a surprise because we already conditioned ourselves to accept that everything will fail. So now we come into this truth, and sometimes it's hard to shake that attitude of, I'm not going to get what I need. Like, no, remove that doubt from your mind. Let's make sure that we're strong in faith. We might not have much, but we know the Father, he's going to give us what we need. And as long as we're faithful, it's all that matters. Go ahead, let's get verse 30.
Verse 30. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after. And your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things.
Part of, that Gentile mindset is constantly, oh, I gotta have this designer stuff. I gotta have this car. I gotta have this 5-star gourmet chef meal, or whatever it may be. That's what the Gentiles seek after. We just need to be thankful the Father's providing us with things that He knows that we have need of. Get 31.
31. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God.
So seek the kingdom of the Most High. Go out there and do works. Go out, prophesy unto the lost sheep. Go out and wake our people up and let them know who they are. And our people that are stuck in the Christian churches and things of the nature, is bring the truth unto them. Let's get busy doing works. Go ahead out.
But seek ye the kingdom of the Most High God, and all these things shall be added unto you.
As long as you're doing the work, no matter what, the Father is going to provide everything for you. He's going to make a way. So we don't have to worry about those things. We can use that mind power to come up with ways of, okay, how am I going to reach this person? Every time I try this approach, it's not effective. What is it that I can do to have better bait to bring him to the Father? Verse
31.
32.
32. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom.
Now think about the way Yasha worded that. It is our Father's good pleasure. The Father, He seeks to give us the kingdom.
Takes delight.
He wants to give us the kingdom. He going back to, it's His good pleasure. When things are so pleasing unto you, the things that make you happy and fill you, with satisfaction and joy, to the Father, that's how He feels about giving us the kingdom. But we have to still earn it. Go ahead.
33. Sell that ye have and give alms.
So Yasha's saying, sell what you have and go out and give to the poor. So if you have excess, go out and give to the poor. If you have extra TVs and stuff like that, and they're just sitting around, go sell those things. Sell them and give to the poor the things that they need. We have some brothers who have actually sold everything and don't actually really have a dwelling. And, the Father put it in their spirit to live like that and to do that. And they're doing fine. Not everybody can be at that level and do that. And some that have actually done that is, they don't have children and things of that nature, so they're able to. But if you have children and you have a family that you have to provide for, you can't just sell everything that you have. You got to provide for your family. You're going to be worse than an infidel. But there's nothing wrong with taking the extra things that you have and selling them so you can give unto the poor. Go ahead on.
Sell that ye have and give alms. Provide yourself bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not.
So as we're doing good works and giving alms, we're providing ourselves bags that aren't gonna fail. We're storing up treasures in the kingdom of heaven. And I don't know about you. I was talking with the brother earlier, and he was like, he's like, right now, what the Father is doing, He's giving us an abundance of manna, meaning works. There's so much work to do, and some are eating more manna, and some are eating less. And sometimes you want to leave some manna, leave some works for other brothers to do, and they don't see that. So while the manna's there, let's make sure we get full. Let's make sure we go out and do as much works as we can, and take as much time as needed to reach the people. And so it's the same thing with this treasure. Right now, the time that you have as you're alive, you have the ability to store up those treasures. So make sure you're storing up as much treasure as you can for the kingdom, so that when you make it, the Father is going to bless you so abundantly. Like it says, when Yasha said, those that have forsaken mother, brother, father, wife, children, lands, whatever, they're going to receive tenfold in the kingdom. So keep that in mind. Go ahead, let's get the rest of 33.
33. Sell that ye have and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth.
So pay attention to this next verse. This next verse is going to be heavy.
For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
So the things that your heart is set on now, that's your treasure. Because wherever your treasure is, that's what your heart is going to be on. So make sure that your heart is inclined unto the Most High, the kingdom, our nation, reaching our people, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, and if you have the ability to go into the prison houses, and share the word. Whatever you can do, just do it. Because if you're not doing any of those things, like for myself, while I was playing video games, and not a lot. I mean, I don't really play video games anymore. Don't have time to. But I'd spend a lot of time playing video games. So I would be able to look at myself and say, well, this is what my heart's in, because instead of playing this video game, I could have been out in the street handing out flyers. It's as simple as, you know what, I'm going to just take the bus down to the city station. I'm going to hand out some flyers and then take the bus back home. Would have cost $2 to go out and share the word. But that time I was doing something different. So it's just an example, whatever it is, whatever your hobbies are, whatnot, you can actually take that time and do works and make works your hobby. Make that where your heart is at so that you can continuously store up those treasures. So with that, we're staying in the book of Luke. We're now going to get verse 35. And, I use the eSword to put these lessons together. And sometimes it'll have the verses broken up. What we just went over was do not be anxious. And then it'll be the same chapter, but then it goes down. Now the portion we're going to go over is you must be ready. So we're kind of staying in the same place throughout this lesson, but it's really important to get these red letters in, because the words of Yasha that are gonna keep us girded. So we're gonna be ready up. Verse 35.
Luke chapter 12, verse 35. Let your loins be girded about, and your lights burning.
So make sure your loins are girded. You're ready to go against any of the, to be protected against any of the fiery darts of that wicked one. Make sure your lights are burning. Make sure you have enough oil in your lamp. Go ahead on.
And ye yourselves, like unto men that wait for their Lord.
So we know we're waiting on Yasha. So we're seeking to continue in obedience, to grow in self-discipline, to reach the people, to pray without ceasing. That's what we're doing as we're waiting on the Father. And we're waiting on Yasha. Go ahead.
When he will return from the wedding, that when he cometh and knocketh, they may open unto him immediately.
Make sure it's like you're at home, right? And you're waiting for guests, and you got everything ready, and maybe you're in a back room or something, or you're in the bathroom, or you're in the backyard, whatever it is, to where you can't be at the door and just open it immediately. We need to make sure that if we drop dead, we can open that door immediately. That there was nothing, as the saying about leave no stone unturned. Make sure that there was nothing that we didn't fix or correct before we die. Make sure we take care of it all. And today's not promised, tomorrow's not promised. So we must be ready at all times. And going back to the title of this lesson, it was don't wait until it's too late. So let's keep these things in mind. We need to be able to make sure that we can open that door immediately. Go ahead.
37. Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching. Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. 38. And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants. And this know, that if the good man of the house had known the hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not have suffered his house to be broken through.
Keep in mind, if just an example, right? Say you notice at a certain time there's always a car parked across the street with people that look questionable, and you start to think, hey, maybe they're casing your place, they want to break in and steal your stuff. And it's approximately about this time they're always there. You're going to make sure that you're always at home, ready to defend yourself and to defend your things. You're going to make sure that you're there at all times so that you don't get robbed. So it's the same thing in this truth and having this knowledge. You need to make sure that you're obedient all the time, that you're praying without ceasing, that you're constantly doing the things that are required of you, that you took those 5 talents and you're constantly trying to make it into 10. Because if you know that if someone was coming to break in your house, you're going to make sure you're there to protect it. Yasha's coming like a thief in the night. So you need to prepare yourself. If you prepare yourself for that, definitely want to prepare yourself for Yasha when he comes. Going back to what this parable says, if you knew what time the thief was going to come, you would make sure that you're watching and you would make sure that your house didn't get broken in. So we know to a certain extent when the thief's going to come, because Yasha's coming like a thief in the night, and he's coming at a time we don't know. So if you don't know and you know something's about to hit at any moment, you're going to be prepared at any moment. But,
40.
Yeah.
Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not. Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this parable unto us, or even to all? And the Lord said, Who then is that faithful and wise steward whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household to give them their portion of meat in due season? 43. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Of a truth, I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he hath. But and if the servant say in his heart, My Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants and maid servants, and to eat and drink, and to be drunken.
Keep in mind, I just said, blessed is the servant that is ready when the master comes, because he's going to make him ruler over everything. And, unfortunately, we have brothers and sisters that become anxious and they can't be, They can't be patient, right? So it's like, what? He can, he's not going to come back anytime soon. You go ahead and, party and do the things that I want to do. And, going where it says right here, begin to beat the men servants and maid servants. You're starting to mistreat your brothers and sisters because we're all serving the kingdom. We're all servants in the kingdom. And so now you're mistreating your brothers and your sisters, and you're just eating to excess and drinking and to the point of drunkenness. That's a bad thing. It's unfortunate that does happen. Sometimes people just get impatient, and they're not strong enough to endure unto the end. And a lot of times, part of that being impatient and anxious is because maybe they don't have a fasting regimen that they're on. Like fasting 1 day or 2 days out of the week, or even once a month. So, I'm going to do a 2-day fast. It's good to do these things because, especially when we're fasting, we are afflicting our flesh and we're allowing the spirit to have a stronger rule over the flesh. But if you're just constantly nourishing your flesh, you're constantly giving your flesh the things that it wants and not the spirit, the flesh now becomes in control, and now you start to do things that are wicked. But let's see what happens to the servant that says in his heart, you know what, my Lord delayeth his coming. He starts mistreating his brothers and sisters. He starts to get drunk. Let's get verse 46.
46. The Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware, and he will cut him in sunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers.
Just keep this in mind. He's going to come at a time when this particular wicked servant is not looking for him. So keep that in mind. Whenever you got things going on in the earth that are distracting you, and it kind of makes you feel like it's like it seems like you're taking a break from the Most High. That's a very scary position to be in, because he's purposely saying when that servant's not looking for me, that's when I'm going to come. So the Father knows when you're not looking for him and you're not seeking to be obedient and seeking to be his servant. He knows that. And one of those times when you're in that position and you're not seeking to be that servant, he might just say, you know what, it's time to pull his card. Keep that in mind. That's a scary position to be in. I mean, you can't just take a break from the Most High. What if the Most High decided, you know, I'm going to take a break from Malak. I'm not going to have the holy angels protect him anymore. I'm going to remove that hedge from around him. When we read the book of Job, we see what happens. Just think if the Most High decided, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and take a break. I'm not going to listen to any of his prayers. Most High would never do that to us. So how can we, within ourselves, say, you know what, I'm going to take a break from being obedient. I just want to wild out and do whatever. Can't do that. Go ahead, let's get 48 out.
47.
48. Or yeah, it's like it.
And that servant which knew his Lord's will.
So those of us that know better, we know the will of the Father. We know the judgment that's to come. We know what we're supposed to be doing.
And prepared not himself.
And did nothing. You know, it's early in the morning. You know, Pops is coming home at 6 p.m. He wants, you know, your room clean. He wants you to go out and do the yard work, make sure the house is in order and everything. You know exactly what time he's coming. You know exactly the details of what needs to be done, and you don't do it.
Neither did according to himself. Neither did according to his will shall be beaten with many stripes.
So if you know better, you are that much more worthy to be beat with many stripes. I mean, you're that much more guilty of punishment. That's why it's a heavy thing that comes with this knowledge and this understanding. You know what is right. You know what is wrong. You now no longer have grace for the things that you have knowledge of. The things that you did in ignorance, the Father can wink at our ignorance and say, okay, but now you know. It's a huge difference. Go ahead.
But he that knew not and did not commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes.
So those that didn't know any better, punishment wasn't that severe. So keep that in mind, especially amongst the Hebrew Israelite community, since we have this understanding in comparison to the Gentiles that are going to face judgment. They don't know what they're doing. They're going to get a few stripes. But us that know who we are, know our position in this earth, know we're supposed to be a light unto the Gentiles, we're going to be beaten severely. Our torment is going to be up top. We're going to be, you know, I don't want to say we, but there's going to be a section of yellow flame, yellow-orange flame, and there's going to be a section of white-blue flames, extremely hot. I don't want to be on any side, but just to put things in perspective, some people are going to be getting cooked a lot quicker than others. I think we're at the middle of 48.
For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required.
So remember, the more you know, you've been given much, more is required of you. Maybe that's why you find yourself a little more preoccupied in doing the work than others, because you've been given more. Right on.
Unto whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more.
So it's like someone, you know, it's like someone who's loaned someone some money, right? To a certain extent, they're gonna feel like, okay, well, I loaned this brother, you know, $600. Like, hey man, I need some help with this. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And it should be, hey, no problem, because I know the brother, he's helping me out. So you've committed something unto someone, you've given them something, and you would hope that in return that they would help you. So it goes back to, and to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask more. So that's why this person, feels inclined to ask, hey, I need help, help me clean my yard up, up until the point where you pay them back what you owe them. It's the same thing. The Father has given us much understanding and rich in the spirit. So because of that, you're like, hey, you have this knowledge. I need you to go feed my people. That's why Yasha told Peter, he said, if you love me, feed my sheep. If you love me, feed my sheep. If you love me, feed my sheep. He said it 3 times. So you love the Father. You have this food, spiritual food, to go out and give to the people. Make sure you're feeding his sheep. So with that, we're now going to get into the parable of the laborer in the vineyard, which is going to be in St. Matthew chapter 20. It's starting at verse 1. And after that, we got a couple more precepts to go to, and then we'll bid everybody a higher speed.
Matthew chapter 20, verse 1. For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers unto his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard.
Keep in mind, it's like a man who owns land, and he needs laborers. He wants to hire some people. So in the first hour, he went out. He found some people that wanted to work, and he made an agreement with them. He struck a deal with them. This is the deal. I'm going to give you this penny. And they agreed to it. They said, okay, we'll do it for this penny. Go ahead on. Verse 3.
Verse 3. And he went out about the third hour, and saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went their way. Again, he went out about the 6th and 9th hour, and did likewise. And about the 11th hour he went out, and found others standing idle, and said unto them, Why stand ye there all the day idle?
So keep this in mind too, as we're going out fishing for brothers and sisters. It's the same thing. Like, bro, why are you standing there idle? Don't you know who you are? Don't you know that Yasha came and he gave himself as a sacrifice to redeem us back into the covenant? Let's not just stand there idle. Come on, let's go get into this field and let's get this work done. Go ahead.
7. They said unto him, Because no man hath hired us. He said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that shall ye receive. So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard said unto his steward, Call the laborers and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first. And when they came that were hired, about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny.
So let's keep in mind, it goes back, he's going to say the first shall be last and the last shall be first. So when it came time to pay, they started paying those that came in that last hour. They got the reward first. Let's keep it in perspective.
But when the first came, they supposed that they should have received more, and they likewise received every man a penny.
They were watching, man, we've been here for a minute, and they saw everybody that came at the last. They all got paid first, down to those that came first got paid last. So as they're observing what you can say is a judgment, they're like, well, wait a minute, we've been doing this longer. We should get more than what this person is getting. And
when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, saying, These last have worked but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden of heat of the day.
You know, keep in mind it could be, those that feel like they might be doing more works than others. And we're all getting the same reward, and you might be frustrated, but it goes back to the Most High is giving every man according to his ability. So if you can take 5 talents and produce 10, he's going to give you 10. You can only take 2 talents and produce 4, he's only going to give you the 2 to get the 4. So you might be one of these ones that you can deal with the burden of the heat of the day. Go ahead.
13. But he answered one of them and said, Friend, I do thee no wrong. Didst not thou agree with me for a penny?
So here you have it. Wait a minute. You agreed to this. Go ahead.
Take that thine is, and go thy way. I will give unto this last even as unto thee. Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with my own? Is thy eye evil, because I am good? So the last shall be first, and the first last. For many be called, but few chosen.
Brothers and sisters, you're in this walk for a long time, or the brothers that we're out seeking to bring people unto the kingdom, right? Having the Most High utilize us so that we can have works. When the time comes, and the time comes for judgment, and say a brother just got baptized the day before everything took place, and now we all, wait to get our reward. Are we going to murmur against the Most High and say, brother just got baptized yesterday, I've been doing this 20 plus years? Like, nah, it's the Most High's to give.
For the Most High wish that none should perish. It takes a little longer for some of us to make it in and wake up and to get to the truth than it did for others. Thing is, they got in.
Got to keep that in mind. Make sure that we're not being idle. Our job is to be laborers. You got to labor for the kingdom. That's just what it comes down to. So we know labor is work. We know, comparing it to the job, labor is work. Sometimes you work a full day, you're tired. So maybe where you work at, they hire part-time people. So you have someone part-time come on in. Whatever it may be, just know that work will tire you out. Sometimes as you're in this for a long time, you're going to get tired. And you're going to look around and you might say, well, why aren't my brothers doing the same? Well, your brother might have been blessed with a different talent that doesn't require as much time to be put in, as opposed to the talent that you have. You have that talent, so that requires more. Just keep in mind, if you're not feeling like you are laboring, something is wrong. Something is really wrong. If you're allowing everything going on around you to preoccupy your mind, body, and soul, to where you're not doing anything for the Most High, something's off there. Something's wrong. You need to pray unto the Most High and ask Him, every opportunity that you have placed out there for me to do something good, please bring it to my attention in those moments so I can do it. Now is the time to start looking to do the right thing. Sometimes, we feel like we have no time. I myself, sometimes I feel like, man, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to spend with my family as I want to. I don't have enough time for anything because I'm always working. But I will make time for the Most High and to do the things that are necessary. And then we have some people out there that have more time, but they're not doing anything. But going back to this parable of the laborers in the vineyard, you got to remember we all agreed for the same reward. So, don't murmur against those that came in at the 11th hour. The Father wants to bless them with something. The Father's going to bless them with something. Going back to this is the last shall be first, the first shall be last. Many are called, but few will be chosen. Make sure you're one of those chosen ones. So what you were called 20 years ago, endure. Don't worry about the one that was called yesterday. But with that, we're going to go to St. Luke chapter 7. We're going to get verse 41. And this is just to put things into perspective as well, as far as we each have a debt that we accumulated in our ignorance. But nonetheless, the Father forgive us for it, and we are indebted to him. And there's nothing that we can do to ever pay him back. But this is just to put things into perspective for yourself. And maybe you fall in this category here where the Most High forgave you more than the next man. So whenever you're ready,
Luke chapter 7, verse 41. There was a certain creditor which had two debtors. The one owed 500 pence, and the other 50. And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Tell me therefore, which of them will love him most? Simon answered and said, I suppose that he to whom he forgave most. And he said unto him, Thou hast rightly judged.
So, just to put things into perspective so that people don't take what we read and run off with it and make it seem like what we're trying to say is that if you're not doing as much, that you must not love the Most High as much as the next man does, or as much as someone who's doing a bunch of works. It's more of an appreciation level. Like if you know you are guilty of death thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of time over, and the Most High has forgiven you, you know, within yourself, you're going to know there's nothing I can do to repay this debt. You're going to be walking on pins and needles. It's like you're walking on eggshells. You want to make sure I don't do not one more thing because I've been forgiven for so much than someone else who maybe came from a different background and a different lifestyle, and they weren't doing as much.
They still weren't keeping laws, statutes, commandments. But according to the laws of this land, they might have been a perfect citizen.
Yep.
We were breaking every law of this land and all the laws of the Most High.
It's not a matter of saying, oh, well, you know, my brother over here, he really doesn't do much. He must not love the Most High the same. No, it's not about that. It's not about that at all. Just some of us were wicked, and we really feel like we can't repay that debt. So we do what we can and try to do more. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a righteous zeal. And not everybody's going to have the same level of zeal. Going back to every man being blessed with different gifts. So with that, once again, the title of the lesson is Don't Wait Until It's Too Late. With that, we're just gonna go ahead and get Revelations chapter 19 and verse 6. And this is what we want to see. This is hopefully where we'll be at the end of it all. Most High willing, he finds us worthy.
Revelations chapter 19, verse 6. And I heard, as it were the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunderings, saying,
Praise the Father.
Praise the Most High. For the Lord, AHAYAH, appointeth reigneth. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him. For the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife has made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints.
pull a scripture out, like it says, let your raiment always be white. So we have a lot of people out here, um, the fringe police. Part of our garment is to also make sure we wear white. So obviously, I'm not wearing white. My brother's wearing white, but we try to make it to a point when we have the feast days and the holy days in the gathering. Let's wear white. Let's have our fringes, and go ahead.
And he said unto them, and he said unto me, right blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said unto me, these are the true sayings of AHAYAH. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yasha. Worship AHAYAH, for the testimony of Yasha is the spirit of prophecy.
Just wanted to go over that, just to put things into perspective now. Just real quick, I'm going to read something out of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7. And this is from the extra 70 verses that were taken out. You can find these verses in your annotated Apocrypha, in your Oxford annotated, and also in your Cambridge annotated Apocrypha. And we're just going to go over this because it fits with the title of the lesson. Don't wait until it's too late. So if you have this text, follow along with us. It's going to be 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, and we're going to start at verse 78. And I'm going to just go ahead and read through these, and after that, we're going to bid everybody a higher speed. So it reads, now concerning death, the teaching is when the decisive decree has gone forth from the Most High that a man shall die, as the spirit leaves the body to return again unto him who gave it. First of all, it adores the glory of the Most High. So no matter whether you were wicked or righteous, first thing that happens is when your soul leaves the body, you're going to be adoring the glory of the Most High. And if it is one of those who have shown scorn and have not kept the way of the Most High, and who have despised his law, and who have hated those who fear the Most High, such spirits shall not enter into habitations, but shall immediately wander about in torments, ever grieving and sad in 7 ways. So now we're going to go over these 7 ways. The first way, because they have scorned the law of the Most High. So the first thing is they're going to look at it like, man, I scorned the law of the Most High, I mocked it, and this would have been the one thing that would have prevented me from getting these torments. The second way, because they cannot now make a good repentance that they may live. So now it's too late. That's why the title of this lesson is Don't Wait Until It's Too Late. Now it's too late. They can't repent. It's a wrap. It's a done deal. Just imagine being that close and it's too late. You weren't that good servant. You were that wicked and slothful servant. We're just going to go ahead and finish this off. This is in the third way, they shall see the reward laid up for those who have trusted the covenants of the Most High. So now they're going to see those who had faith in the reward. The fourth way, they shall consider the torment laid up for themselves in the last days. Now all they can think about is that torment. The fifth way, they shall see how the habitations of others are guarded by angels in profound quiet. The sixth way, they shall see how some of them will pass over into torments. The seventh way, which is worse than all the ways that have been mentioned, because they shall utterly waste away in confusion and be consumed with shame, and shall wither with fear at seeing the glory of the Most High, before whom they sinned while they were alive, and before whom they are to be judged in the last times. I'm going to go ahead and go over the 7 ways for the righteous, and then it'll be a wrap. So this is, now this is the order of those who have kept the ways of the Most High, when they shall be separated from their mortal body. During the time that they lived in it, they laboriously, going back to that word, laboriously served the Most High. It was the danger every hour that they might keep the law of the lawgiver perfectly. So those talking about the law is done away with, that's not a true statement at all whatsoever. Therefore, this is the teaching concerning them. First of all, they shall see with great joy the glory of him who receives them, for they shall have rest in 7 orders. The first order, because they have striven with great effort to overcome the evil thought which was formed with them, that it might not lead them astray from life into death. So that's that withstood danger every hour, because we're constantly dealing with the evil thought that was formed with us. I mean, we can't get around it. No matter how obedient we are, we still deal with temptations. The second order, because they see the perplexity in which the souls of the ungodly wander, and the punishment that awaits them. The third order, they see the witness which he who formed them bears concerning them, that while they were alive they kept the law which was given them in trust. So keep in mind, this law has been given to us. We are entrusted with it. So when we have this understanding, we aren't to take it and use it for any type of financial gain or any type of worship from man, which is something that unfortunately happens in the Israelite community. So we see here. The fourth order, they understand the rest which they now enjoy, being gathered into their chambers and guarded by angels in profound quiet, and the glory which awaits them in the last days. The fifth order, they rejoice that they have now escaped what is corruptible and shall inherit what is to come. And besides, they see the straits and toil from which they have been delivered, and the spacious liberty which they are to receive and enjoy in immortality. The sixth order, when it is shown to them how their faces to shine like the sun, and how they are to be made like the light of the stars, being incorruptible from then on. The seventh order, which is greater than all that have been mentioned, because they shall rejoice with boldness, and shall be confident without confusion, and shall be glad without fear, for they hasten to behold the face of him whom they served in life, and from whom they are to receive their reward when glorified. This is the order of the souls of the righteous, as henceforth is announced, and the aforesaid are the ways of torment, which those who would not give heed shall suffer. Just go real quick. This is, I answered and said, will time therefore be given to the souls after they have been separated from the bodies to see what you have described to me? He said to me, they shall have freedom for 7 days, so that during these 7 days they may see the things of which you have been told, and afterwards they shall be gathered in their habitations. Just to put it into perspective, don't wait until it's too late. You don't want to be those that are going to receive torments and to just be stuck thinking like, man, I can't repent. You don't want to be in that position. Every day you should seek, to think about the day before and say, okay, did I do anything that I should repent from? Did I might do something? Is there a possibility that I, broke a commandment? That's why in the Lord's Prayer that we should be saying every single day, we ask the Father to forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, and to lead us not into temptation, but to deliver us from evil. So, we need to keep these things in mind. So with that will conclude today's lesson. The title is Don't Wait Until It's Too Late. Our conference line is open. The number is...
I've got a couple things that I want to get off. It's on my mind. I feel the spirit move. I just want to give thanks and recognition to these brothers out here. First of all, I love all my brothers. We come together, we congregate. But certain brothers just give that encouragement throughout the week. And it's like the strength we be needing. So everybody doing their thing, and I love you all. But I want to give a special thanks out to Barak and Amar. You brothers y'all don't even know what y'all be doing for the body. And I'm sure all the brothers feel the same way. Even though I can't get through on the text all week, but I call y'all at the end of the week or whatever. Just want to give y'all that thanks. And Kwam Yasharala. And again, something else. All the other camps out there, all you brothers, we're not into the discord of this camp against that camp. All the brothers out there with their hands to the plow, doing the work. You love my Father, and you love his Son, the Christ. I just want to tell you, brothers, stay encouraged, keep doing what you're doing. And I pray that the Most High Bring us all together on the one accord and the one truth that we all see eye to eye real soon. And I give all thanks and praise to the Most High and just say, you brothers, just keep strong, keep doing the same thing. Regardless of our disagreements, I love you brothers as well. Kwam Yasharala.
All praise to the Most High. That's another thing we gotta keep in mind. Regardless of our differences, we do seek to please our Father. And we might go about it different ways, but we know it's the key component is the obedience to the Father in waking up our nation. So praise to the Most High. And Most High willing, we'll be back next week with something. Most High hopefully put something on our spirit to bring edification to our brothers and sisters. Anything else?
Shabbat Shalom, Kwam Yasharala.
Shabbat Shalom, Kwam Yasharala. Oh yeah, real quick. Our conference line is open. The number is 302-202-1110. Once again, 302-202-1110. The code is 702706. I noticed there was a couple questions or comments asking about what we believe in and things of that nature. Definitely open to share that, as far as, maybe you just came across this Periscope channel and you're not really familiar with the things that we're speaking of as we're coming out of the Bible. Give us a call. Our email is scatteredsheep@yahoo.com. Once again, that's scatteredsheep@yahoo.com. Send us an email, or you're welcome to call in. Any question that you have will definitely be answered. We have a group of brothers that stay in the scriptures, and if I can't answer it, they can. If they can't, another brother will be able to answer it. So any questions anybody has, please feel free and welcome to ask. And with that being said, I just want to say Shabbat Shalom and Kwam Yasharala. Stop this recording.